the press conference with Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, just a guy who, like, he came into the Secretary of State position and was like, dude, you play the saxophone. You're probably cool. You seem like you believe in like international law and like a rules-based order and shit. You probably believe in, international human rights. No, he does not. So this was him taking questions. It was a very long hearing on the press briefing, on the ceasefire. And in the middle of it, Sam Husseini, who is a journalist, he wasn't the first person to interrupt. Max Blumenthal of Grayzone also interrupted. But Sam Husseini has been interrupting a couple of times. And in a moment when he was not talking out of turn, he was waiting, he was listening, 3 security guards pull him out and just grab him by the arms, and they basically proceed to manhandle him and remove him. But here's how kind of the whole thing went down, and it's just the disgusting shame that this motherfucker needs to feel right now. Like, this is what you expect from a Trump administration. This is the kind of treatment of the press that we're probably going to continue to see, right? But this whole hand-wringing, like you believe in fucking liberal democracy, like you believe in the rule of law, like you believe in human rights, and it's so sad, everything sucks for you, shut the fuck up. We know you're full of it. We know you don't care. And the test is really if you support Israel completely skirting international law or not, right? And so here he is, and this is the interaction with Sam Husseini.
And I want to thank my colleagues, in particular, Jake Sullivan, Bill Burns, Brett McGurk, for their remarkable skill, tireless dedication over these many months of negotiation.
Will you recognize the Geneva Conventions apply to the Palestinians?
And again, I'm happy to address questions when we have a chance. I'm happy to address questions in a moment. Thank you. As we celebrate the return of hostages in Gaza.
So he interrupted and said, do you believe in the Geneva Conventions? It's like, because the quick follow-up is, do they apply in Israel? Do they apply to the Palestinian people?
Including Americans. As we look to relief for the people of Gaza, I'm also thinking of all those U.S. citizens who are held wrongfully, who are hostage in countries around the world.
Do you know about the Hannibal directive? Miller says he doesn't know about the Hannibal directive. Do you know about the Hannibal directive?
Again, I'm happy to address questions.
No, I want him to answer my question.
I look forward to answering
He's going to
questions.
speak for an hour.
Okay, well, we'll let him speak. We're here for him. Thank you.
He gets to make lots of speeches.
Thank you.
Let him answer.
Oh, Matt Miller's coming into the fray. So a woman comes over and asks him to stop. And then Matt Miller's like, shut up. And look, you could make an argument that, yeah, he was being deliberately disruptive. And he didn't want to wait for the entire, preamble of bullshit before asking his questions. And look, Blinken could have stopped down and Blinken could have said something. Blinken could have addressed him, but instead he just kept on going like he's always done, like the coward that he is. And he can, because he also has no answer.
Some questions. Let him answer some questions instead of making another speech every day.
Sir, would you like to be escorted out?
Go away.
You don't have the responsibility to tell me where to go. Do you want to be escorted out or not?
I want him to
Thank you.
answer
Okay,
questions.
then let's be quiet.
I'm a
I look forward to
journalist.
answering questions in a minute.
I'm a journalist. I'm not a potted plant.
Everyone will have an opportunity to ask questions in just a minute. Thank you.
Miller has explicitly told me he will not answer my questions. I'm justified in what I'm doing.
I have no greater pleasure in this job than crossing off a list I carry in my pocket.
We don't want to
The names of those who've been arbitrarily detained and unfairly held hostage, unjustly held hostage, and bringing them home, returning them to their.
Okay, I don't know if you're listening, but he's saying he keeps a list of names. Like, this is how one-sided the people in the Biden administration have been. He keeps a list of names of the hostages in his pocket. If you kept a list of the 46,000 civilians who've been murdered by Israel, you would need a bigger fucking pocket. This is some straight, like, he might as well be like, yeah, and then I have some IDF dog tags, right? Like what difference does it make if you keep the names in your pocket other than some bizarre little, like, moral plea and completely discrediting you as a diplomat in this situation? You got a list. Look at who fucking gave that to you, right? Like, what weird, what Hasbara shill gave you that list?
Families returning to their loved ones. Finally, I
Get
just
your
wanted
hands
to share
off
this
me.
morning.
Get your hands off me.
Okay, so he's not even talking. Sam Husseini's not even talking, and you see they're like, we're gonna just remove him. We're just gonna get him off. So Blinken's just talking. Sam Husseini's not saying anything.
Finally, I
Get
just
your
wanted
hands
to share
off
this
me.
morning.
Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. Answer a damn question.
I look
Do you know
forward to
about the
answering
Hannibal
questions and
directive?
comments.
Do you know about Israel's nuclear weapons? Everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I am asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions, and so I'm asking
Please, sir,
questions.
respect the process.
This is so sick. Like, you could say right in, it is in your capacity right now. Let's say you want him gone. Please don't hurt him. Sir, can you stand up and leave? You've been disrupted. That is a perfectly good way to handle it. I don't believe in throwing Sam Husseini out, but you could totally do that. Instead, he just respect the process anyway, and just sort of like disgustingly watches on as 3 security officers haul this man out. This elderly journalist, they haul him out, and he's like, yeah, that's what happens when you don't respect the process. I mean, look, guys, this is Trumpian. This is Trump shit, okay? This is the kind of stuff we're going to see under Trump. But let's all remember that we have been seeing it under Biden, but and specifically reserved for one particular issue.
Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
Please, sir, respect the process. Thank you.
Respect the process. Respect the process. While everybody from Amnesty International, to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination, and you're telling me to respect the process. Criminal, why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague?
You know what? I hope we live long enough to make sure. I don't know if he's going to go to the Hague, but for this fucker to know that he was on the wrong side of history. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy's shame face. I mean, that is a lot that's a lot of dead babies bottled up right there. That is a lot of carnage. You think you and I have seen carnage? Who do you think the first people who can see everything? What do you think the fucking State Department has its eyes on? What do you think they've seen? You believe in a rules-based order. You believe in process. This guy's telling a journalist about process while they're skirting international law, while they're continuing to send now $8 billion more in weaponry to a genocidal state. Respect the process? You respect nothing. You respect nothing. And in fact, you and the entire Biden administration simply picked up where Donald Trump left off when it came to Israel-Palestine, when it came to Palestinian human rights. You continued the Abraham Accords. You didn't move the embassy back from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv. You allowed all of this to continue. Hook, line, and sinker. You went along with it. The biggest lie is that Biden broke from Trump on the border. When it comes to militarism, Biden never broke from Trump. And so, now we're getting the real deal, right? We're going to get the real thing. And it's going to be worse. It will absolutely, there's more babies and heroes to kill. And if you guys don't know, learning about the Hannibal directive. The Hannibal directive, and the reason it's relevant is because on October 7th, I covered the news that day. On October 7th, especially outside of the Nova, music festival, you immediately saw like lines of cars absolutely like decimated, completely incinerated from clearly what could only be described as a missile, right? A missile from the sky. That's the only thing that does that. And so the immediate reaction was like, gee, I didn't know like Hamas had like, helicopter or like missile capabilities like that. Maybe a rocket launcher, but I don't even know if they had that many. Like, Jesus, that looks insane. And the Hannibal directive might be the culprit. In fact, the culprits, it looks like, were the IDF itself, because the Hannibal directive says that we would rather kill Israeli hostages than have, specifically when it comes to Israeli military personnel, we'd rather have them killed than have them taken alive. That's what the Hannibal directive says. It prioritizes their own supposed national security over the lives of their own soldiers. So of course they're going to do that over the lives of their own hostages. And does that not ring a little bit true in the last 15 months? Don't you think Israel's been putting politics and so-called national security over the lives of these hostages and their families? Yeah. So we'll see if on Sunday, just like we'll see if TikTok is banned, all the things come true. And all the people who said TikTok was spreading a bunch of truths about Palestinians and must be banned. And we can't talk about ceasefire. That is a dirty word. Do not mention absolutely not. Now they're doing a ceasefire. So didn't everyone get their way? This will be great, I'm sure. And look, I'm not going to say that stopping the bombing even for a moment isn't a good thing, but again, we will see how long Netanyahu respects this. And we'll see, of course, there will be no consequences should he violate it. Thank you, Benjamin Morrill, for your super chat. Rage Rock for now, thanks for your super chat. Even if the ceasefire supposedly is enacted for a while, does that mean annexing the West Bank or war with Iran leaves Netanyahu's mind? No. Does it mean that the war for greater Israel is gone? Of course not. I mean, it's disgusting to say this, but as someone who doesn't, because I predict the U.S. will be involved in a hot war in Iran. If maybe not, it might be more of a drone war, but within a year, I give us about a year to get involved with Iran. Marco Rubio's testimony was very, very clear on that in terms of how he feels about Iran. But no, I would almost rather, I'm like, at least it's a fair fight. Anyone who talks about the fighting or the war in Gaza, it's like, no, these are sitting ducks. These are civilians. These are children. I mean, it's amazing. Like when you talk about like the ceasefire, oh, celebrations were had. Yeah, there were celebrations, but do you notice a lot of them were just children celebrating? Because it's quite literally the youngest population on planet Earth. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.